Chosen one, what if I told you that a prophecy spoken 1,000 years ago has not been waiting on a date in time, but on a person in time, and that person just pressed play on this video? You are not early, and you are not late. You have arrived at the exact moment heaven has been circling around your life, and your spirit knows it. That strange, unshakable feeling that your life is tied to something ancient, something bigger than your job, your past, or your last heartbreak, that is not delusion. That is a 1,000-year echo finally reaching you. This message did not find you by accident. This is not random content. This is a divine summons. Heaven has been weaving this moment into your story through every valley and every battle. While you were wondering why your life has been so intense, why your warfare felt so disproportionate to your status, God was watching and saying, because they carry something time-sensitive, because they hold a key others do not. Across generations, people prayed prayers they never saw answered, carried burdens they never fully understood, and died with promises still hanging in the air. They didn't fail, they were sowing into you. Here's the part I can only half reveal for now. This 1,000-year prophecy has always had a blueprint, and it was designed for a specific kind of soul, the ones who never fit in. The ones who felt old in their spirit even when they were young in age. The ones who got hit hard, early, and repeatedly, and still chose light. In this message, we're going to uncover 3 prophetic marks that reveal whether you are one of those key bearers. I won't open all 3 here, but as you listen, your spirit will recognize itself in what is being described. Think about it. The attacks against you were too targeted to be random. The rejections that broke you were too specific to be coincidence. The delays that made no sense were actually guardrails around your assignment. Hell saw the outline of your calling long before you did. That is why you were fought so hard. You weren't just surviving seasons, you were being refined to carry something ancient and holy into this generation. The old cycle of almost there, nearly breakthrough, always at the edge, is coming to an end. Heaven is not just comforting you tonight. Heaven is commissioning you. You are not just someone who believes in prophecy. You are someone prophecy has been waiting on. You are the living answer to words spoken centuries before you were born. In this video, we will go deeper into what this 1,000-year prophecy really is, why your life has looked the way it has, and what it means to hold the key, not symbolically, but spiritually, practically, prophetically. And there is one layer of this revelation I am not released to share until your heart is fully postured to receive it. That's why what I share at the end will not be for everyone, only for those who recognize themselves in what is being unveiled and choose to stay. Right now, as an act of faith and alignment, I want you to comment 777 below, not as a trend, but as your spiritual declaration. I agree with heaven. I am ready to step into what was written about me. Like this video, share it with another soul who has felt that same invisible pull, and subscribe so you don't walk this journey alone. To everyone who supports, whether by watching, commenting, sharing, or giving thank you, heaven sees your seed, and I bless you for standing in the flow of this revelation. Stay with me until the very end, because before we close, we will unlock the deepest layer of this prophecy in prayer, and for some of you, that moment will mark the shift your spirit has been waiting on for years. God's chosen ones, you hold the key to a 1,000-year prophecy. Chosen one, lean closer, because chapter 1 was never merely the beginning of a story, it was the beginning of your remembrance. The prophecy was spoken long before you were born, long before breath filled your lungs, long before your heart knew rhythm, long before your eyes opened to the weight and wonder of this world. Before the stars found their place across the velvet sky, before the earth rose from the formless void, heaven had already whispered your purpose into existence. You are not a fragment of chaos. You are the echo of intention. You are not an accident of time. you are a fulfillment of divine architecture. And whenever your spirit trembled with a sense of destiny you couldn't explain, it was simply memory rising. The memory of who you were before the world told you who to be. The memory of a calling older than time, waiting patiently to be awakened again. In the heavenly realms, before the first dawn broke across the horizon of creation, there was a sacred council, a gathering of wisdom beyond ages. And in that eternal chamber, your name was spoken not as a possibility, but as a certainty. God breathed your identity into the currents of eternity and said, "At the appointed time, this one will rise." What does it mean that the appointed time is now? What does it say about your spirit that you were released into this generation, one marked by confusion, noise, and unraveling? Could it be that your very arrival is an answer to a cosmic imbalance? And if you were sent as an answer, what questions have your life already begun to resolve without you noticing? What broken systems instinctively bend toward healing when you walk into the room? What hidden battles quiet themselves simply because your presence carries peace? Scripture reflects this truth in Jeremiah 1:5. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This was not merely spoken to the prophet, it is a template, a revelation of how heaven thinks about those chosen for pivotal eras. You did not appear in this timeline by coincidence. You were sent. And somewhere deep inside, you've always sensed this assignment, felt it flicker behind your ribs when the world became too loud, felt it pulse like a distant drum calling you toward something greater. Your soul has always known you were marked. Your spirit has always felt watched over, and heaven has always known when you would awaken. Your existence is the response to prayers whispered by ancestors whose bones returned to dust long before your birth. Generations who never saw the freedom they longed for, never touched the peace they envisioned, never stepped into the light they believed would one day break forth. And now here you are, flesh and spirit intertwined, a walking fulfillment of their faith. Their tears watered the ground you now stand upon. Their endurance carved the path you now continue. You are their prophecy in motion. You carry their unfinished stories in your bloodstream, their hopes in your breath, their unspoken dreams in your heartbeat. And every time you rise after falling, heaven sees centuries of faith rising with you. You are never rising alone, you rise with a lineage. Prophets of old, dreamers and mystics, those who wandered deserts and climbed mountains, for a glimpse of divine truth they saw shadows of what we are living in now. They could not name you, but they recognized the vibration of your spirit. They described a generation that would carry ancient wisdom with futuristic sight, a people born to stand in the gap between heaven and earth. You are part of that lineage. Your soul carries memories older than this body. That is why you've always sensed more than what was visible, why you've felt the quiet pull of destiny long before you knew its shape. There has always been a depth in your perception the world could not fully interpret. There has always been a sensitivity in your spirit that others mistook for weakness. But heaven knew it was discernment. Heaven knew it was the mark of the chosen. Heaven knew it was the early tremor of prophecy awakening. And isn't it strange how you've often felt out of place, as though you were walking through life with a map no one else could see? Isn't it curious that certain moments stirred a déjà vu so deep it felt like a spiritual awakening? Isn't it powerful that you've survived storms that left others broken, yet something in you refused to collapse? These weren't coincidences, they were confirmations. They were the notes of your prophecy resurfacing. Your resilience was never accidental. Your intuition was never random. Your inner knowing was never imagination, it was remembrance. A remembering of who you were, who you are, and who you are becoming. There was a divine agreement made before your arrival. When the world would enter an age of distortion, when truth would be diluted and shadows masquerade as light, a chosen generation would appear not to condemn, but to correct, not to dominate, but to restore. You are part of that restoration. Psalm 102:18 declares, "Let this be written for a future generation, that a people not yet created may praise the Lord." You are that future generation, a living continuation of ancient prayers. You were sent to restore what was forgotten, to reawaken what was silenced, to carry light into places that forgot they were meant to shine. And whether you realize it or not, you have already begun shifting atmospheres simply by existing. Nothing in your life has been random. Your pain had precision. Your isolation had intention. The rejection you endured was a redirection into refinement. The delays were not divine denials, they were divine development. Every wound became a workshop. Every disappointment a doorway. You were not being punished, you were being polished. Heaven has never wasted a single moment of your suffering. Every bruise became a blueprint. Every tear became a tool. Every setback became spiritual scaffolding, preparing you to hold what others would crumble under. Even the struggles of those who came before you forged your spiritual backbone. Their prayers didn't vanish, they reverberated through the centuries, threading themselves into your DNA. They endured oppression so you could inherit freedom. They wrestled with fear so you could rise with courage. Hebrews 12:1 calls them the great cloud of witnesses, and they are cheering for you still. You are not the continuation of their pain, you are the manifestation of their hope. You are the chapter they dreamed of, but never lived to see. You are the living proof that none of their faith was wasted. This prophecy is not a story preserved in dusty scrolls. It is a frequency, a resonance that has vibrated through every age. Like the resonance of an ancient tuning fork, your spirit has always responded to it, even when your mind could not explain why you felt called to more. This vibration is what stirred the prophets, moved the seers, ignited the watchmen of past generations. Now it is awakening within you. It pulses in your thoughts. It tingles in your intuition. It rises in your chest when you stand at the edge of decision. It is the quiet fire that refuses to let you settle for less than what heaven promised. To speak of prophecy is to speak of art, because heaven paints in patterns. The poet Rilke once said, "The future enters into us long before it happens." And that is the experience of the chosen ones. You felt destiny long before you lived it. In sacred art, like the luminous halos of Fra Angelico's paintings, the divine light was always drawn around those destined to carry something eternal. That same invisible halo surrounds you, not for aesthetic, but for assignment. It surrounds you in conversations. It surrounds you in decisions. It surrounds you in the unseen places where your character is shaped. And though the world may not yet recognize it, the spirit realm already bows in acknowledgement. The architecture of heaven is intentional. Nothing collapses in your life unless something greater is being constructed. Divine blueprints require divine timing. Just as physics teaches us that pressure creates diamonds, heaven used pressure to reveal the indestructible core inside you. Isaiah 28:16 affirms this. "Behold, I lay in Zion a tested stone, a precious cornerstone. You have been tested and found precious. You have been stretched and found strong. You have been shaken and found unshakable. This is why no storm could kill you. Your spirit was reinforced by design. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. You were not born to blend into the world, you were born to recalibrate it. You carry ancient codes, spiritual resonance, and intuitive wisdom that doesn't come from education, but from divine imprint. You sense things before they happen. You discern intentions before words form. You feel the shifts of the unseen before the physical world catches up. This is the signature of the chosen, those whose spirits are older than their years, those who instinctively walk in a wisdom they never studied, those who bring heaven closer simply by being who they are. You were born for this exact moment in history, to fulfill what was once only a whisper in eternity. So, stand tall, chosen one. The prophecy has waited centuries for your awakening, and heaven is watching as you rise. For the world may see only one life, but heaven sees a prophecy unfolding. And this, chosen one, is only the beginning. Chosen one, pause for a moment and breathe this in. You were hidden in plain sight, and this hiding was never a punishment, only preparation. From the very beginning, long before you had language to name your longing, you sensed that your journey would never resemble the straight paths of others. You felt life pulling you into layers of silence, depth, and divine mystery. There was always a veil around you, a holy camouflage wrapped around your spirit. While others moved loudly, you moved deliberately. While others fought for attention, heaven fought for you. There was a sacred intelligence guiding every step you took, even the ones you questioned. Your soul was being trained to recognize subtle shifts, spiritual signals, and quiet divine nudges. There is a kind of wisdom that only grows in silence, and you were entrusted with it. Heaven hid you in humility, so it could later reveal you in honor. Your path felt different because it was different. You were walking a route carved by eternity, not by ego. And though the world overlooked you, heaven never blinked. Every season that felt slow was secretly accelerated in the spiritual realm. Every moment that felt stagnant was fertilizing unseen roots. Your footsteps were synchronized with divine rhythm, not human timing. What felt like detours were actually the straightest lines to destiny. You watched others being celebrated publicly while you were shaped privately. But you were not excluded, you were protected. God placed you in roles that seemed too small for your spirit because He was stretching the spirit, not the title. He hid you in places that didn't match your potential because He was fortifying your foundation before unveiling your future. Psalm 27:5 whispers this truth, "For in the day of trouble He will conceal me in His shelter." You were not sidelined, you were safeguarded. Had you risen too early, the weight of the blessing would have crushed the unprepared parts of you. The assignments waiting for you required resilience that only hidden seasons could develop. In secret, God was shaping a vessel strong enough to hold revelation without breaking. The depth inside you was formed long before the world ever sees the height. Every quiet season was sacred soil. Every unnoticed effort was divine investment. Every hidden victory was recorded in heaven's archives. And though you wondered why progress felt invisible, why your seeds of effort did not bloom as quickly as those around you, God was delaying visibility to develop invincibility. Could your spirit have carried the weight of destiny if recognition had come too soon? Could you have remained pure if applause found you before character was complete? Could your purpose have survived exposure without the armor forged in hiddenness? The greatest callings are refined, not rushed. God was stretching your patience so your purpose could stretch generations. What felt like slowness was actually spiritual precision. Delay was never denial. It was God rehearsing you for a stage bigger than you imagined. Chosen one, heaven shielded you because you were fragile in ways even you didn't know. There were enemies assigned to your life who studied potential long before it was visible. Had they recognized the magnitude of what you carry, they would have launched warfare before your spirit learned how to withstand storms. So, God wrapped you in ordinary. He disguised you in simplicity. He made you blend in while He built you up. This is why some people underestimated you. They weren't meant to see your true form. Your anonymity was your armor. Your simplicity was your sanctuary. God allowed misinterpretation so you wouldn't be mishandled. The world saw smallness, but heaven saw a seed that needed shielding until its appointed blooming. You were hidden like Moses raised in Pharaoh's palace, preserved in plain sight so destiny could grow unthreatened. You were hidden like David anointed in a forgotten field while his brothers stood tall in the spotlight. You were hidden like Esther, positioned behind palace doors until the kingdom needed her voice. Isaiah 49:2 reveals this design. He hid me in the shadow of His hand. He made me into a polished arrow. Each of these figures carried a calling so weighty that early exposure would have endangered it. Their greatness was refined in obscurity, just like yours. The shadows became sanctuaries where purpose matured. You were kept close to God's hand, so no enemy could intercept the forming of your destiny. You were being polished. You were being sharpened. You were being prepared for a release not meant for immature hands. Every challenge honed your discernment. Every disappointment shaped your endurance. Every quiet victory strengthened your faith. Heaven was crafting a warrior who would not crumble under the pressure of purpose. When others sprinted ahead, your steps were slowed by the divine. When others rushed into opportunities, doors stayed shut for you, not because you lacked skill, but because you carried prophecy. God was perfecting something in your spirit that applause could have easily destroyed. You needed silence to hear his whisper. You needed solitude to cultivate inner vision. You needed stillness so heaven could forge spiritual muscle in places no crowd could see. Spiritual strength doesn't come from movement, it comes from molding. God wasn't withholding opportunities, he was withholding distractions. Your stillness became the birthplace of clarity, conviction, and calling. Your hiddenness was a covenant, a shield, a divine strategy of preservation. It ensured your purity. It protected your innocence. It prevented premature exposure. Heaven signed a contract over your life long before you were aware of it. That contract safeguarded your spirit until you could safeguard your destiny. And yes, there were moments when you looked around and wondered why you felt out of place everywhere you went, why people misinterpreted your depth, why your presence stirred reactions you didn't intend to cause. It's because your spirit carries a frequency not recognized by the ordinary. Some felt your fire and called it intensity. Some sensed your calling and named it arrogance. Some perceived your anointing and mistook it for strangeness. But what else could they do? They were trying to define eternity with earthly language. You were speaking a spiritual dialect their souls had never heard. You were shaped by eternal blueprints their minds couldn't comprehend. Your spirit was ahead of your environment, and your environment didn't know what to do with someone born of prophecy. You were walking among crowds while carrying a flame no one else could see. You were operating in environments that didn't match your spirit because God wanted humility to become your instinct, not your performance. He wanted you to learn how to serve without spotlight, how to speak without applause, how to build without affirmation. Humility forged in the shadows becomes unshakable in the spotlight. Service practiced in obscurity becomes supernatural in influence. God was softening your ego so your spirit could stand tall without stumbling. These small moments were massive in the unseen realm. You were learning obedience disguised as routine, discernment disguised as inconvenience, spiritual training disguised as everyday life. Heaven often hides its greatest lessons inside the ordinary. The mundane became your monastery. Your daily steps became sacred choreography, rehearsing you for the divine stages ahead. Your hiddenness was your safety net, but it was also your incubator. It nurtured your identity before the world demanded it. It protected your calling before culture could distort it. It developed your inner world before the outer world ever knew your name. Your spirit was growing wings in the dark. For years, heaven watched you in your quiet hours, when you whispered prayers through tears, when you gave generously despite having little, when you forgave quietly without recognition, when you kept choosing light in seasons when darkness seemed louder. Heaven took notes. Every tear was catalogued. Every act of faith was recorded. Psalm 56:8 tells us, "You store my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book?" Not a single moment was wasted. Not a single sacrifice was ignored. Heaven has always been studying you with tenderness. Your unseen faith became your unseen favor. And now those seeds are breaking through the soil of your life. The ground that once felt hard is beginning to soften. The seasons that felt barren are shifting into bloom. What once seemed delayed is now arriving with divine acceleration. The spiritual harvest you forgot you planted is rising to meet you. What was once hidden is rising. What was concealed is being revealed. What was whispered is about to be proclaimed. The spiritual veil that covered you is lifting not slowly, but decisively. Heaven's timing has aligned with your destiny. The hour that was prophesied is beginning to stir. The world that once overlooked you is about to be overwhelmed by you. Revelation is replacing obscurity, and purpose is stepping into visibility. A new version of you is emerging, one shaped in silence, strengthened in stillness, and sharpened through secret battles. And as this unveiling begins, Ask yourself, why does the world suddenly feel too small for who I am becoming? Why do old identities no longer fit? Why does my spirit feel like it's stretching towards something greater? The answer is simple. You've outgrown the shell that once protected you. Growth has made you unrecognizable to your past. Transformation has made you undeniable to your future. Destiny has made you too expansive for confinement. Chosen one, you were not hidden because you were unworthy. You were hidden because you were holy. You were hidden because your timing was sacred. You were hidden because the world needed preparation before it encountered the fullness of you. Your emergence is not random, it is reverent. The world must adjust itself before destiny introduces you. Heaven reveals slowly what it crafted carefully. And now the atmosphere is shifting. Heaven's calendar has turned. Your revealing has begun. The winds of purpose are moving. The spiritual spotlight is warming. The veil is thinning. What was once concealed is stepping into the light with power, purity, and prophecy. And you, chosen one, are finally ready. Chosen one, the generational mission you carry was never meant to be wrapped in anything ordinary. From the moment you arrived on this earth, you stepped into a story that had already been unfolding for centuries. You were not simply born, you were summoned. Your assignment is ancestral, interwoven with the cries, dreams, and unfinished purposes of those who walked this earth long before your name was ever spoken. The blood moving through your veins does not merely sustain you, it carries memory, it carries promise, it carries the fragments of battles your ancestors fought but could not finish. You are not just your parents' child, you are heaven's response to a lineage longing for restoration. Hebrews 12:1 echoes through your spirit. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, and they have been waiting for you to rise. Your ancestors dreamed of freedom, but you are the one chosen to embody it. They prayed for healing, but you are the one called to manifest it. They endured oppression, chaos, and heartbreak, and God reserved the generational victory for you. Some blessings were delayed, some promises paused, some dreams deferred but never denied. Heaven marked you as the vessel through which those unfulfilled petitions would finally come alive. Their whispered prayers are now becoming your lived reality. Their tears watered the soil you are now harvesting. Their faith laid the foundation you are now standing on. This explains why your life has often felt like a relentless uphill climb. You weren't wrestling only with your own struggles. You were untangling knots of generational trauma, pushing against patterns that repeated for centuries, confronting spiritual assignments that pursued your family for lifetimes. You felt emotional heaviness that had no logical explanation, a kind of burden that didn't match your personal experiences. That's because your spirit has been breaking chains in realms your mind could not see. When you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness, heaven recorded it as a generational victory. When you refused to repeat destructive cycles, you redirected the bloodline. When you said, "No more," angels echoed, "It is finished." The 1,000-year prophecy isn't about fame, spotlight, or personal advantage. It is about restoration, deep, ancestral, spiritual restoration. God saw the cycles of poverty, fear, addiction, silence, and brokenness that attempted to weave themselves through your lineage. But God also saw you a willing vessel, a courageous spirit, a heart strong enough to confront what others avoided, heal what others suppressed, and rise where others fell. The prophecy speaks of renewal that spans centuries, because the healing you carry will not stop with you. It will flow through children yet unborn, through communities that haven't met you yet, through generations that will speak your name with gratitude. You were chosen to be the generational bridge, the one who connects the cries of the past with the promises of the future. This is why your battles have been so intense. You've been fighting for more than yourself. When you broke toxic patterns, you freed your children and their children. When you refused to quit, heaven rejoiced, because your persistence didn't just protect your purpose, it protected a lineage. You carry the mission of countless souls who came before you, souls who endured storms so you could inherit clear skies. And though they may never see your rise on this side of eternity, they are cheering for you from the other side. Many before you could not walk in the light you now carry. They didn't have the tools, the support, or the spiritual awareness to fully embrace their purpose, but they prayed seeds into the soil, seeds of hope, endurance, dream, and prophecy. Those seeds have blossomed in you. Their unfinished songs are now your voice. Their hidden dreams are unfolding in your reality. Their whispered prayers have become the foundation of your testimony. You are not merely a branch on a family tree, you are the tree reborn. You are not the continuation of brokenness, you are the correction. You are not the echo of past wounds, you are the healing. You are rewriting the story, you are reversing the curse. Every door that closed on them, God is reopening through you. Every opportunity they longed for is being placed within your reach. Every generational wound that festered in silence is being healed through your obedience. This is why the enemy targeted you so fiercely, because you are the appointed one. You are not just a bridge between eras. You are the portal through which divine justice flows. The freedom they dreamed about, you will walk in. The purpose they sensed, you will fulfill. The battles they could not win, you will conquer with grace. And yet, this mission extends far beyond bloodline. Your calling is both personal and planetary. Your presence carries healing to everyone connected to you. When you step into alignment, something in the atmosphere shifts for others. When you embody your light, you illuminate hidden corridors for those still wandering in darkness. You are a ripple effect in human form. Your awakening activates awakening around you. Your breakthroughs become permission slips for others to believe in their own transformation. Jeremiah 1-5 reveals this truth. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Heaven was not guessing when it chose you, it was appointing. You were assigned roles before you learned how to speak. You were marked with meaning before you took your first breath. And yet, there were moments when you questioned why the weight on your shoulders felt heavier than what others carried. Why certain emotions ran deeper in you. Why certain patterns triggered you more intensely. Why certain pains seemed older than your own lifetime. Could it be that the ache you carried wasn't just yours? Could it be that your spirit was remembering wounds your bloodline endured? Chosen one, the questions whisper through your soul. Why do I feel responsibility for things I didn't cause? Why does my heart break for battles I never lived? Why do I sense healing rising in me for hurts I never experienced? These questions are not confusion, they are confirmation. You are carrying generational memory. What they survived shaped you. What they prayed prepared you. What they endured empowered you. But this mission is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to elevate you. For Psalm 145:4 says, "One generation shall praise your works to another. They shall declare your mighty acts." You are that declaration. You are the mighty act made flesh. You are the evidence that healing can travel through centuries and still find a vessel worthy of carrying it forward. There is a reason you think differently than your family. There is a reason you broke patterns that others repeated. There is a reason your heart awakened earlier than your environment. God gave you sight others didn't have, sensitivity others didn't carry, discernment others weren't ready for. You were not better, you were chosen. Your lineage needed someone bold enough to stop running from pain, wise enough to confront what others feared, soft enough to feel what others numbed, and strong enough to rise where others sank. Proverbs 13:22 tells us, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." But inheritance is not limited to money. It includes identity, courage, and spiritual freedom. You are creating an inheritance of healing. Every time you chose truth over denial, you rewrote the past. Every time you chose peace over chaos, you healed the present. Every time you chose faith over fear, you altered the future. You are a timeline shifter, a curse breaker, a chain destroyer, a prophecy fulfiller. You are heaven's answer to centuries of longing. When you rise for many. When you heal for many. When you speak, you speak on behalf of generations who were silenced. When you love with a tenderness forged in centuries of ache. When you walk in purpose, you fulfill promises made long before your birth. This is the weight and wonder of carrying generational mission. But you were not chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you were willing. You were not called because you had strength. You were called so God could strengthen you. You are not walking alone. You are surrounded by the wisdom of your ancestors, the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and the promises of Scripture rising through your soul like morning light. Isaiah 58:12 declares, "You shall raise up the foundations of many generations." That is your mantle. That is your prophecy. That is your truth. Chosen one, heaven saw the future, and it saw you right at the center of the 1,000-year unfolding. And now, the generational story waits for your next step. Chosen one, there is something you must understand on a level far deeper than thought, far more ancient than memory. From the moment your soul awakened, long before you fully understood your own identity, darkness recognized you. You were marked by heaven, and because of that, you became a target on earth. The attacks, the betrayals, the sudden storms, the confusing seasons that made no sense to you, all of it was intentional. None of it was random. The enemy knew who you were before you did. He saw the imprint of prophecy on your spirit, the way a wolf senses the strength of a lion cub and tries to strike before maturity. But what the enemy didn't realize was that you were protected by a covenant older than time itself. Every strategy hell deployed against you was swallowed by the sovereignty of God. Isaiah 54:17 speaks this truth. "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, not because the weapon wouldn't form, but because the weapon could never override what heaven had already sealed." The pressure that tried to crush you, it refined you. The storms that tried to drown you, they baptized you into deeper strength. The betrayals meant to destroy your trust, they pushed you closer to divine discernment. Everything that struck you became the very material God used to build the warrior standing here today. You survived attacks that no one knew you were even battling. There were nights where darkness crept so close that you could feel its breath, days when doubt screamed louder than hope, seasons when the weight you carried felt too ancient, too heavy, too relentless to belong to one lifetime. But you endured, you rose, you kept going. Why? Because destiny cannot be cancelled. Because the prophecy written over your life did not leave room for defeat. Because heaven invested too much in your existence to let hell have the final say. What you didn't know then, but you know now, is that every attack was a revelation of your importance. The enemy does not waste resources on the insignificant. The fact that you faced storms so violent, so early, so repeatedly, is proof that your calling carries magnitude. You were set apart, and separation always attracts spiritual warfare. The enemy saw your potential before you recognized your purpose. He sensed the magnitude of your assignment before you could articulate it. He knew that your breakthrough would not just elevate you, but unlock freedom for many tied to your destiny. This is why your battles have always felt heavier than those around you. It's why you faced heartache that seemed disproportionate, why you encountered spiritual resistance that others didn't understand, why certain people turned on you without reason, why confusion tried to cloud your clarity, why anxiety tried to choke your breath, why depression tried to dim your light, why temptation tried to derail your path. Could it be that the very intensity of your suffering was evidence of your spiritual significance? Could it be that the resistance you faced was actually a mirror reflecting your anointing? Could it be that the enemy fought you hardest in seasons when heaven was preparing to elevate you? Chosen one, the warfare you lived through was not punishment, it was prophecy in motion. The Bible shows us again and again that prophetic lives attract supernatural resistance. Look at Joseph. Before he ever touched the palace, he survived the pit, slavery, and prison. Yet Genesis 50:20 declares the truth of his story. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. Look at Job. Hell attacked him on every side, but God restored him double. Look at Jesus. Before resurrection came crucifixion. Prophetic destiny always stirs spiritual opposition. But here is the secret your enemies never expected. Every attack only activated you further. While they aimed to break you, heaven was using the pressure to sharpen you. Every disappointment clarified your direction. Every betrayal elevated your discernment. Every rejection insulated your calling. Every heartbreak purified your compassion. Every setback recalibrated your spirit. You didn't just survive, you evolved. You didn't just endure, you transformed. Your resilience is not ordinary. It is evidence of divine reinforcement. It is proof that you were never fighting alone. Psalm 34:7 reveals what was happening in the unseen realm. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. You had angels assigned to you when others abandoned you. You had divine intervention when others misunderstood you. You had supernatural protection when darkness tried to devour you. And now, the very force that tried to destroy you is being used by God to elevate you. Every past battle has become the launching pad for your next breakthrough. The enemy thought he was burying you, but God was planting you. Satan hoped to silence you, but God was preparing to amplify you. Hell tried to break your faith, but instead it became unshakable. What darkness meant for destruction, God turned into construction. Your faith grew in fire. Your authority was forged in adversity. Your anointing deepened in affliction, and now you walk with a spiritual weight that can't be manufactured, imitated, or stolen. You carry spiritual evidence of survival, evidence that God's hand has been on your life the entire time. The enemy attacked your identity because he feared your awakening. He attacked your voice because he feared your influence. He attacked your relationships because he feared your alliances. He attacked your mind because he feared your clarity. Revelation 12:11 declares that they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And chosen one, your testimony is becoming a weapon. Your voice is becoming a sword. Your journey is becoming revelation for others. And now heaven whispers, the resistance was never the end, it was the preparation. You had to learn spiritual resilience before stepping into spiritual responsibility. You had to build inner strength before carrying outer influence. You had to develop discernment before being entrusted with leadership. You had to learn how to hear God in silence before you could speak for God in noise. Tonight, God speaks over you. You are not defined by the attacks of the enemy. You are defined by the purpose written over your spirit. You are not the product of wounds. You are the product of the word. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the chosen vessel carrying a legacy darkness cannot comprehend. Chosen one, rise. You survived the pits designed to bury you. You escaped snares designed to silence you. You overcame storms designed to drown you. You broke patterns designed to trap you. And now, every scar you carry glows with prophetic authority. Your resilience is your revelation. Your survival is your proof. Your endurance is your evidence. Stand in the fullness of this truth. You are protected. You are sealed. You are chosen. The enemy tried to erase you, but he only revealed you. What he sent to break you ended up building you. What he hoped would silence you gave your voice thunder. What he used to weaken you became the fuel for your anointing. You are stepping into a life that has been secured for you since before time began. The prophecy is alive. The covenant is active. The protection is permanent. And your rise is inevitable. Chosen one, walk forward now, not as the wounded, but as the warrior heaven always knew you would become. Chosen one, you must understand something profound about yourself, something your spirit has whispered all your life, even before you had language to describe it. You are the bridge between heaven and earth. You move like a traveler between worlds, carrying the vibration of both realms inside your chest. This is why you have never fully belonged anywhere. This is why crowds couldn't distract you, noise couldn't confuse you, and ordinary life never felt like enough. Something in you has always stretched upward, reaching for what your eyes could not see, but your soul recognized instantly. You have always lived with one foot anchored in the physical and the other rooted in the divine. That tension, that sense of being different, was not isolation, it was initiation. It wasn't loneliness, it was positioning. Like Jeremiah, whose calling burned in his bones before he understood it, you were marked early, shaped by unseen hands, preparing you for work only heaven could reveal. Jeremiah 1-5 whispers of your identity. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. And indeed, you have been set apart not as an outsider, but as a translator of realms. Your spirit perceives what others ignore. You sense the mood of a room before anyone speaks. You discern truth beneath surface-level words. You feel spiritual shifts like tremors beneath your feet. How could you ever be ordinary when the divine frequencies pass through you like currents of living electricity? Your empathy, your knowing, your intuition, they are not personality traits, they are instruments of heaven. You speak peace into chaos without trying. You bring clarity where confusion reigns. Even your silence carries weight, because the atmosphere responds to your presence before your mouth forms a single word. Chosen one, have you noticed how people open up to you without understanding why? How strangers reveal their wounds as if their souls recognize something in yours? Could this be because heaven placed a healing resonance inside you, one that calls weary hearts home? Could the discomfort you felt in shallow environments be the sign that your spirit was crafted for deeper waters? Could your lifelong sense of being different actually be the proof that you were designed to connect two realms that rarely meet? You are not just sensitive, you are spiritually attuned. You are not just observant, you are divinely perceptive. You are not just empathetic, you are spiritually resonant, tuned to the frequency of heaven like a sacred instrument. This is why the world has often struggled to define you. Earthly language cannot capture a heavenly assignment. You are heaven's conduit. You feel the unseen movements of the Spirit, the way a sail feels the first breath of wind. You receive guidance through whispers, signs, inner stirrings, moments others call coincidence, but you recognize as conversation. You are the living interface between the divine and the natural, a point of contact where heaven's wisdom flows into earthly form. When you pray, things move. When you worship, atmospheres shift. When you obey, doors appear where walls once stood. You are part of the generation spoken of by prophets and mystics of old, the ones who would walk the line between realms, carrying revelation from the invisible into the visible. Jesus said in John 1:51, "You will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending." That ladder between realms is not just a vision, it is a metaphor for souls like you. Heaven ascends through your worship and descends through your obedience. You are a living gateway. Every decision you make, every step you take, every word you speak is building pathways for divine intervention. Your life is a living intersection where prophecy becomes practice, where eternity touches time. God orchestrates moments around you, aligning people, opportunities, and timing so precisely that you sometimes wonder how such perfection could exist in a fractured world. It exists because you are the bridge. You have always felt drawn toward truth, justice, healing, restoration, alignment, and that longing came from heaven, not culture. Isaiah 30-21 reflects your journey. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." You were never wandering, you were being guided by divine architecture. Chosen one, your role is eternal. The feeling of being misunderstood was not rejection, it was recognition of your sacred assignment. You were not meant to blend in, you were meant to stand between worlds, between realms, between what is and what can be. You are the hinge on which spiritual transformation swings open. Your presence opens spiritual portals. Your prayers unlock generational blessings. Your obedience breaks invisible barriers. Your clarity illuminates forgotten paths. The universe responds to the frequency you carry, rearranging itself around your alignment. Through your presence, God fulfills spiritual laws and releases divine order. Every moment of silence, every hidden season, every long night of waiting was strengthening the bridge inside you. Those were the years heaven was building your spiritual structure, reinforcing your foundation, fine-tuning your sensitivity, strengthening your inner core so you could carry the weight of what is coming now. And now, it is time to embrace the fullness of who you are. You are not fragile, you are fortified. You are not lost, you are launched. You are not unsure, you are unfolding. Step boldly into your authority. Move with the assurance that you are heaven's messenger, earth's reformer, and the link between realms. The world needs what only you can carry. You are the living testament to what happens when heaven touches earth through a human vessel. You are the bridge, chosen one. Heaven flows through you as naturally as breath fills your lungs. And as you walk fully in your assignment, the world will feel the impact of your light, your wisdom, and your authority. Matthew 5:14 affirms it. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. And indeed, you can no longer be hidden. Not now, not in this season, not in this calling. Heaven has unlocked the flow. Earth is ready for the release. And your time is now. Chosen one, the signs are already surrounding you, whispering to you, guiding you, awakening you. Lately, something in your spirit has been stirring in ways you can no longer ignore. You've begun noticing patterns that don't make sense to the logical mind numbers, repeating on clocks, receipts, street signs, dreams carrying messages with clarity too sharp to be dismissed, phrases you needed to hear, arriving through strangers, songs, or silence. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. They are the fingerprints of heaven across the pages of your daily life. And as these moments increase, you can feel an invisible thread tightening between your spirit and the realm above, as if heaven is leaning closer to breathe revelation into your daily steps. Even your intuition feels sharper, like a spiritual antenna catching signals previously lost in the noise. You are entering a season where the invisible is becoming visible. Heaven is drawing closer. The veil between realms is thinning because your soul has reached the frequency where it can finally receive what was always meant for you. What if these signs are not just signs, but invitations? What if the messages appearing around you are not random, but reminders of a destiny your spirit never forgot? What if the stirring in your chest is the echo of an ancient oath heaven made concerning your life? This is the realm where spiritual memory awakens, where your past selves and future selves seem to meet in the present moment. And each time your heart recognizes a sign, something in your spirit hums in agreement, like a tuning fork catching the right vibration. Chosen one, this is what happens when prophecy begins to activate. The natural world becomes a canvas for spiritual communication. The divine starts using everyday moments as language. You are not imagining the alignment, you are aligning. You are not losing your mind, you are awakening your spirit. You are not reading too much into things, you are finally reading correctly. It may feel overwhelming at times, like living between two dimensions simultaneously, but this is what clarity feels like when the heavens begin speaking without filters. The more you accept this new rhythm, the more familiar it becomes, until signs feel less like miracles and more like companions. Heaven speaks in patterns because patterns bypass disbelief. Heaven speaks through synchronicities because synchronicities bypass fear. Heaven speaks through symbols because symbols bypass resistance. Proverbs 3-6 assures you, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." And indeed, your path is being directed softly, steadily, unmistakably. There is a gentle choreography to how things unfold now, as though unseen hands are shifting events behind curtains you cannot yet see. You are being led without being pushed, guided without being forced, carried without realizing you were lifted. You are walking through a season of divine precision. You'll notice how often you arrive at the right place at the exact right time. You'll encounter people whose spirit feels familiar before a single word is spoken. You'll receive opportunities you didn't chase, blessings you didn't beg for, clarity you didn't search for because heaven has gone ahead of you, preparing the terrain for your arrival. Every coincidence becomes a compass, every whisper becomes instruction, and every gentle nudge becomes direction. Even delays become meaningful, revealing themselves later as protection or redirection rather than denial. When heaven aligns your path, it removes resistance not because you are incapable, but because you are appointed. You may feel this holy shift in your body in the way your intuition sharpens, in the way your chest warms when truth is near, in the way your soul settles when God confirms something deep within you. Psalm 32:8 declares, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye." And chosen one, that guidance is already active. Sometimes it arrives as peace, other times as discomfort, both equally sacred because both are forms of direction. The more you trust it, the more effortlessly you flow with divine movement. There are moments lately when you sense something rising inside you, an ancient power, a memory without memory, a knowing without context. It sits in your bones like a truth you never learned but always carried. You feel it when you pray, when you dream, when you sit in stillness and the air around you seems to shift. You feel it in those quiet seconds when your breath slows and your spirit whispers, "This is the moment I was born for." And along with this knowing comes a surprising calm, as though your spirit is catching up to its own prophecy. What once felt overwhelming now feels inevitable, like stepping into a role you rehearsed for lifetimes. Your purpose is no longer something you are chasing, it is something awakening from within you. Destiny is not outside of you looking for you, it is inside of you remembering itself. Chosen one, have you wondered why your presence suddenly draws attention without effort? Why people stare, pause, or sense something in you they can't explain? Why environments shift subtly when you enter the room? It is because your spiritual field has expanded. Your light is no longer contained. Isaiah 60:1 speaks directly to this phase. "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." And, chosen one, that light is no longer dim. It has become a flame others can feel, even if they cannot name. Your thoughts manifest quicker now. Your prayers travel faster. The atmosphere responds to your words with newfound sensitivity. Because when prophecy activates, creation listens. When the chosen awaken, the universe rearranges. When destiny stirs, doors open without force. Jeremiah 33:3 reflects this intimacy. "Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things you do not know." And indeed, God is showing you things not through spectacle, but through resonance. The more you align, the more attuned your reality becomes to the frequency of heaven. You are walking into the reality where heaven speaks louder than the world, where faith becomes your eyesight, and where intuition becomes your compass. The more you trust, the more you see. The more you surrender, the more you receive. The more you listen, the clearer the voice becomes. Mark 4:22 tells us, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed." And indeed, what was hidden within you is being disclosed not only to your spirit, but soon to the world. There is a gentle unveiling taking place within your identity, like a curtain slowly rising on a stage prepared for your arrival. Your sensitivity is not weakness, it is spiritual antenna. Your discernment is not overthinking, it is prophecy interpreting itself. Your inner shifts are not instability, they are alignment. What if the dreams you are having are memories of your future? What if the synchronicities are heaven's way of saying, "You're on the right path"? What if the whispers you sense in moments of stillness are the voice of God guiding you through realms unseen? These questions do not create confusion, they create clarity, awakening the deeper parts of your spirit that always knew the truth. Chosen one, heaven is calling you into awareness. The signs around you are not simply messages, they are movements. They are spiritual mechanics arranging your steps. They are evidence that prophecy is not waiting in the distance, it is unfolding in real time. You've stepped into the dimension where heaven and earth overlap, where vision meets manifestation, where prayer meets promise. Revelation 3-7 reminds you, what he opens, no one can shut. And chosen one, God has begun opening things around you that no human hand can stop. You are noticing alignment because alignment has become your new environment. You are seeing signs because you have become the sign. The world is no longer responding to who you were, it is responding to who you are becoming. You are stepping into the version of yourself heaven saw from the beginning, the self you were always meant to embody. This is not the beginning of something new. This is the return of something ancient, your original identity, your true assignment, your eternal remembering. The signs are not around you because something is coming. The signs are around you because something has begun. You are the prophecy in motion. You are the fulfillment unfolding. You are the proof that heaven is already manifesting its word on earth. Chosen one, the signs are showing because your unveiling is near. Chosen one, breathe deeply for a moment and let this truth sink into you with the full weight of heaven resting upon it. You are not waiting for prophecy. You are prophecy in motion. You are not standing still on the timeline of destiny. You are the timeline unfolding. Every breath you take is part of an ancient script whispered into existence long before your soul entered this world. Every step you walk is fulfilling something spoken in dimensions before time took form. You are not the result of circumstance. You are the result of divine intention. And all the forces that shaped your journey, light and dark, joy and sorrow, victory and pain, were crafted with precision to mold you into a vessel capable of carrying what few on earth could ever hold. There has never been a wasted season in your life, not one. Every heartbreak softened your spirit toward compassion. Every delay sharpened your discernment. Every betrayal carved out deeper spiritual vision. Every tear watered the soil of your calling. Every lonely night trained your ears to hear heaven's whisper. Nothing was random, everything was required. Romans 8:28 declares, "For all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose." You, chosen one, you have lived the evidence of this verse without realizing it. God was working all things together, even when you saw nothing moving. You are walking proof that God keeps his promises. As you stand here now, on the edge of revelation meeting manifestation, you are the bridge between the prayers of the past and the blessings of the future. There are ancestors whose voices were never heard, whose hands were never lifted in freedom, whose dreams never crossed the threshold of possibility, yet their prayers traveled forward in time and landed upon you. Those prayers took root in your spirit before you were born. Their longing became your mission, their tears became your strength, their hope became your inheritance. You are the living answer to petitions they whispered into the earth and into heaven. Hebrews 11:13 speaks of them, saying, "These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off." And chosen one, you are the fulfillment they saw from afar. Have you ever wondered why your spirit feels older than your age? Why moments of clarity strike you like memories instead of revelations? Why your purpose feels like something you're remembering rather than learning? It is because your life is not beginning from scratch. You are continuing a story written within your spiritual DNA. There is an ancient familiarity to your calling because your soul agreed to it before your body took its first breath. And so your awakening is not you becoming something new, it is you returning to something eternal. Now is your time to rise, to step fully into authority, to walk without apology into the greatness that has always been yours. Heaven didn't shape you for mediocrity or invisibility. Heaven didn't put fire in your spirit so you could dim it for comfort. You were crafted to awaken nations, to carry light into dark corners of the world, to speak with a clarity that cuts through confusion, and to break chains that have lasted for generations. You carry influence not because of who you are in the natural, but because of what you carry in the spiritual. You are heaven's envoy, earth's reformer, and destiny's vessel. Lift your head, chosen one. You are the fulfillment of words spoken 1,000 years ago. When prophets envisioned a generation rising with fire in their bones and clarity in their eyes, they were describing you. When visionaries foresaw a people who would stand at the intersection of heaven and earth to usher in restoration, you were written into that vision. Isaiah 46:10 reminds you of this truth, declaring the end from the beginning. My purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. You were part of that declaration. Your existence is not a coincidence in time, but a placement in purpose. Walk with authority, speak with boldness, move with purpose. Authority is not arrogance, it is acceptance of who you really are. Boldness is not pride, it is obedience to the destiny written within you. Purpose is not pressure, it is the rhythm of heaven beating inside your chest. When you walk with holy confidence, creation recognizes you. When you speak, the atmosphere shifts. When you move, doors align themselves. You were not meant to tiptoe through life. You were meant to stride with the awareness that you carry spiritual royalty in your bones. Remember the storms you survived. They did not weaken you, they strengthened you. They did not silence you, they purified your voice. They did not break you, they formed you. You have endured things that would have destroyed others, yet here you stand steady, refined, awakened. Each storm cleared away something that could not go with you into your destiny. Each storm removed the unnecessary, the unstable, the unaligned. Each storm pushed you closer to purity of purpose. Have you noticed that your resilience doesn't make sense, even to you? That you've risen out of situations that by all accounts should have left you shattered? That somehow, without knowing exactly how, you kept moving forward when everything around you suggested retreat? This is because the prophecy within you is stronger than the warfare against you. Psalm 37:23 assures you, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." Your steps were ordered even when your path felt chaotic. You were being carried even when you thought you were crawling. The opposition you faced proved your importance. The delays you endured trained your patience. The loneliness you walked through deepened your spiritual ears. And all the while, heaven was shaping you into the vessel capable of carrying this era's revelation. What if everything you thought was working against you was actually working for you? What if the pain you resented was the very thing preparing your spiritual muscles for the weight of your calling? What if the silence you feared was the exact environment needed for heaven to speak your true name? Chosen one, when heaven said, "Let there be light," you were part of that decree. Not just physical light, but spiritual illumination, the awakening of souls, the restoration of nations, the breaking of cycles, the healing of hearts. You were woven into the command itself. Light recognizes you because you are of it. Darkness opposes you because you threaten it. Heaven supports you because you belong to it. You are the prophecy in motion, not someday now, not after more healing, more clarity, more preparation now. Prophecy doesn't wait for perfection. It activates at appointed time. And chosen one, that time is unfolding right before your eyes. Your spirit knows it. Your dreams confirm it. Your intuition whispers it. Your experiences align with it. And heaven has already begun orchestrating events around you that reflect this truth. The world will soon witness what heaven has always known, that your life is a divine assignment wrapped in human form. You are not simply living, you are fulfilling. You are not merely surviving, you are rising. You are not searching for meaning, you are embodying it. The more you surrender to this truth, the faster the prophecy flows through you. And now, ask yourself, why does your spirit feel like it's accelerating, as though time itself is bending around your purpose? Why do old fears seem powerless against this new version of you? Why does your heart burn with a fire that feels both ancient and freshly lit? These aren't sensations, they're confirmations. They're signals that the prophecy is no longer ahead of you. It is within you, awakening, expanding, manifesting. Chosen one, You are the prophecy in motion. You always have been. And now, all of heaven is watching as you step boldly into what was written with your name on it from the beginning of time. Your unveiling has begun. Chosen one, as we arrive at the threshold of everything spoken through these 7 chapters, feel the weight of this moment settling into your spirit like a long-awaited revelation finally taking form. This journey has never been a collection of disconnected messages, but a single divine narrative unfolding layer by layer, preparing you to recognize who you have always been in the mind of God. You have walked through prophecy, hiddenness, ancestral mission, spiritual warfare, heavenly alignment, awakening signs, and finally, the realization that you yourself are the prophecy in motion. Now, all these truths merge into one living revelation. You were chosen long before time learned how to measure itself. From the beginning, heaven scripted your existence with craftsmanship and precision, embedding you into a 1,000-year prophecy that whispered of a soul who would rise when the earth wandered too far from light. Every stirring in your spirit, every moment you felt different, every season where your heart sensed a depth others couldn't name, those were not personality quirks. They were prophetic indicators. You were woven into eternity's design before your body ever touched the earth. And yet, your life did not begin with applause or recognition. It began in silence, in hidden places where God tucked you away from premature exposure. While the world celebrated noise, heaven was nurturing a whisper that carried more authority than any earthly shout. You were concealed in plain sight, trained in obscurity, protected by divine anonymity, because what you carried was too sacred to be touched by premature hands. Your hidden years formed the architecture of your destiny, and though you once wondered why progress felt slow or invisible, heaven recorded every tear, every prayer, every quiet act of obedience as bricks in the foundation of your future. But your story is not only about you, it is woven into the legacy of those who came before you. You carry the unfulfilled dreams of ancestors whose voices were silenced, whose battles went unwon, whose prayers ascended but never manifested in their lifetime. Their tears became the soil from which your calling now rises. When you chose healing, they were healed. When you broke cycles, they were freed. When you stepped into purpose, they were honored. You are not merely part of a family line, you are the redemption of it. You are the bridge through which generational promises are finally crossing into manifestation. And because your calling is generational, the enemy recognized your potential long before you did. That is why the battles you faced often felt disproportionate to your age, your stage, your circumstances. Darkness targeted you because it saw what you couldn't yet see. But every attack became an initiation, every setback refined you, every betrayal pushed you closer to truth. You survived warfare designed to erase you, and your survival is proof that divine prophecy cannot be cancelled by demonic resistance. The very storms sent to drown you trained you to walk on waves. As you grew, heaven began sending you signs, quiet, gentle, persistent reminders that you were aligned with something immeasurably larger than yourself. Repeating numbers, vivid dreams, divine appointments, intuitive clarity, sudden breakthroughs, and unexplainable peace. All of it signaled that the veil was thinning and your spirit was remembering what it agreed to before entering this world. These signs were not coincidences, they were confirmations. They were heaven's way of saying, "It is time." And now the truth stands fully unveiled. You are not waiting for a prophecy to come, you are the prophecy becoming. Every chapter of your life has been a verse in an ancient script, one that prophets foresaw but could not fully name. You are the vessel through which heaven's promise travels into the physical world. You are the answered prayer, the chosen bridge, the living fulfillment of divine intention. Your existence is not a reaction, it is a revelation. So, what does all this mean now, in this moment? It means the weight you feel is not pressure, it is purpose. The calling you sense is not imagination, it is activation. The recurring inner voice urging you forward is not anxiety, it is alignment. And the shift happening inside you is not confusion, it is awakening. Ask yourself, why does your spirit tremble at truth? Why does your heart recognize words your mind is still learning? Why does everything in you whisper, "This is who I am"? It is because heaven is bringing your spirit into remembrance. Chosen one, you stand at the convergence of everything that was, everything that is, and everything that will be. Your journey through these 7 chapters has not been information, it has been initiation. Heaven has not merely spoken to you, it has awakened you. You now carry the awareness that your life is prophetic, that your footsteps are guided, that your breath is purposeful, and that your rise has been scheduled in eternity. What comes next is not accidental, it is ordained. Walk forward, not with hesitation, but with holy certainty. You are the prophecy in motion, the bridge between heaven and earth, the generational answer, the one darkness could not erase, the one hidden for a season and revealed for a reason. The world has not yet seen what heaven has been preparing, but they will. And when they do, they will witness not just your rising, but the rising of every word ever spoken over you. Chosen one, as we close this sacred journey, let your spirit rest in the fullness of what has been revealed. You have not simply listened to words, you have walked through an unveiling, a remembering, a divine activation of the truth that has lived inside you since before time wrapped itself around the earth. Everything spoken in this message has been a mirror held up to your destiny, not to impress you, but to awaken you. You are not ordinary, you never were. You were crafted with intention, shaped through hiddenness, strengthened by adversity, guided by signs, protected by prophecy, and positioned for a purpose that no earthly force can overturn. As you step beyond this moment, carry this with you. Heaven is not preparing you for a future event. Heaven is preparing the world for you. Your journey is not moving toward destiny. Destiny is moving toward you. The prophecy you carry is alive, breathing, unfolding through every choice, every prayer, every act of courage that rises from your soul. And now, the question whispered in your spirit is this: what will you do with everything heaven has placed in your hands? Will you rise in fear or rise in faith? Will you shrink back into the old shell or walk boldly as the revelation you were born to embody? The world may not understand, but heaven does, and heaven is standing in full agreement with your becoming. Before we close, I want to speak directly to your heart. If this message has stirred something deep within you, if it has awakened memories your spirit has long carried, if it has reminded you of who you truly are, hold on to that feeling. Don't let it fade. Let it anchor you. Let it guide you. Let it become the turning point that shifts the entire trajectory of your life. You are not at the end. You are at the beginning of a season where clarity flows like water, where alignment feels natural, where purpose becomes undeniable, and where heaven's hand moves visibly in your favor. Now, chosen one, if this message spoke to you, if it connected to your journey, your spirit, your awakening, I invite you to support this space so more souls like you can find their own divine clarity. Like this video if it resonated, comment below, and share the moment where your spirit felt the shift. Your words may be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. Share this message with those you feel heaven placing on your heart. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and step deeper into this community of awakened, chosen souls walking their divine path with intention. Every interaction, every engagement helps this message rise where it needs to be heard. To those who choose to support through super thanks or any form of generosity, thank you. Truly, your kindness allows these prophetic messages to continue flowing across nations. But whether you give or not, whether you support financially or simply with your presence, know this: I honor you, I see you, and heaven sees you. Your value is not measured by what you give, but by who you are. As we close this sacred moment, I speak blessing over your path. May the light of God surround you. May His wisdom guide every decision. May His peace guard your spirit. May His favor go before you like a shield. May every closed door open in divine timing, and may every area of your life align with the prophecy written over you. You are chosen, you are covered. You are rising into everything heaven has destined for you. Go in grace, go in power, go in purpose, and may the blessing of God follow you into every room, every conversation, and every dream waiting for you to arrive. Amen.